I ask for the truth on behalf of Akanksha Sharma concerning relationship issues. What are the prospects on the horizon for maybe a stable long-term relationship? What's this all about? I ask for guidance and insight in the name of truth, right conduct, peace, love and non-violence. Blessed be to the truth always. We just cut the tarot there for you, Akanksha, and move things just to the side here. I'm going to deal out 3 cards. The first card we deal is in the possession of the recent past. The next card is in the possession of the present. And then finally there, the next is in the position of the immediate future. I suppose you could say really the immediate future and the recent past are about a moon phase ahead and a moon phase behind. So we'll start with the one that's a moon phase behind and we'll see what has been going on. I suppose really you could say we're establishing the situation, aren't we? Just finding out what's been happening before we find out what is happening, or we find out what's happened, then we find out what's happening, and then we find out what's about to happen. In that order, don't we? So I think it'd be better if I put the kettle on instead of this rubbish. Right, let's pull out the first card and see what energy vibrates or what energy has been vibrating over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so. I usually say a moon phase, which is roughly, you know, about 3 or 4 weeks between now and within the last 3 or 4 weeks or so. The present, of course, is over the past 6 days, so it could be 3 days behind and 3 days ahead, any time within that sort of time period. And then the immediate future, again, is within the next 3 or 4 weeks. But the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, what's been going on there? Let's just flip this card here, and we'll reveal the energy of the High Priest. Often it's Jupiter, of course, often referred to as the Hierophant, isn't it? Often. This can symbolise occult knowledge, prayer, all that sort of thing that's been going on. Notice that it is a major arcana card. Major arcana energies, of course, don't give you power to change the situation. They're sort of like fixed. You still have choices, you can still decide what you want to do, but they're more of a permanent fixture. And over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, you haven't had much power to change things, but nevertheless it's not the sort of thing maybe you'd probably want to change in some regards, although I do sort of sense here as though maybe you've been seeking some sort of mentor, maybe somebody to look up to, somebody to guide you just a bit more thoroughly in this. Maybe this could be the fact that you've been seeking guidance elsewhere as well from the tarot, as we are doing now, or or any other oracle. Maybe. He seems as though he's content, though, doesn't he? The way he sits there, the way Jupiter sits there, he's content. As if maybe you've been content. You've been happy in the place that you've been in. I was going to say, but that would be itself contradictory, wouldn't it? Wanting to know, of course, about will you be in a stable relationship. I get a sense as though you've been in one, but well, in the sense of it was at the time until something happened, until you needed to seek guidance on something, until you needed. I got a sense as though you were in this, as it says here, you were looking for somebody to look up to, somebody to mentor you. And you ended up with somebody that you had to virtually be mother to, in some way, shape or form. I don't know. I'm getting that. Although, nevertheless, they had the wisdom. I'm sure they had the wisdom to provide for you there. But I do sense, regardless of what that was, you have turned to prayer, or you've turned to some maybe religion even, or there has been religion in the past related to this in some way, a religious belief, or even the occult in some way. But the power of prayer seems to be very, very important to you, or has seemed to be very important to you just recently. Using alternative, well, not alternative, but you could say complementary methods to try and gain occult knowledge. Occult, of course, means hidden, so hidden knowledge. On certain subjects. In this particular case of the relationship, maybe using the occult to not so much for personal gain, but certainly for guidance. I got a sense as though somebody has been there to guide you, but did you listen to it? Yes, it's left you content in some way. It's left you feeling okay about it. You could say, couldn't you? It's left you feeling okay about it, but nevertheless, what's happening now? Over the past 3 days to the next 3 days. What's going on in this sort of time period? We'll just pull that card out, and then we're going to get it and bring it round for you, and then we'll flip it nice and slowly, not to disturb its energy, and then we'll see what this is about. The King of Coins. Notice there. And the King of Coins is, well, coins is to do with earth, isn't it? Or pentacles is often referred to. It's to do with the element of earth. The king is the fiery part of earth. spiritual essence of the physical vehicle. As if, I suppose, in a way, giving life to something that's material. In this particular case, though, often it can be represented by a tiger that represents willpower. Right now, where they often say, where there's a will, there's a way, don't they? They often say that. The king, of course, the king of pentacles is of course, well, the king of coins is, I suppose, he is a wealthy sort of character, isn't he? Usually. The king of diamonds, it's often... But notice with it being a minor arcana card, a minor arcana energy, that does give you the power to change things. Although you didn't have much power to change things over the past 3 or 4 weeks or so, you've been left in this sort of maybe seeking a mentor, seeking guidance. You'd have got that or not, but I sort of sense as though you might have been the one having to do the guiding because you were having to mother somebody. The king, of course, can sometimes represent a man in your life as well. Often you go even with hair colour. Although I didn't used to do that sort of thing, but of course ones would be dark hair, up to coins, which is a light-haired character. But I don't actually, personally, I don't do that really, because it's irrelevant what colour eyes they've got or what the name is or anything really, to some degree. It's just in this particular case, I do sense that this is a man, though. This represents a man in your life right now. Somebody who may have reached the peak of his career, or somebody who is doing well. But nevertheless, somebody who is a bit pushy, a bit adamant about what he wants from life. It could even represent you. It is the king of coins energy. The energy of the king of coins could just represent you. Hell bent on getting what you want. A stable relationship. I will get this stable relationship, whatever it takes. Maybe the king represents that. Just a part of you. Although he's male, you're female, nevertheless is man. It's that part of you maybe that's the king's energy is there, just symbolising and representing that's inner power, I suppose, really. Of course, it's the fiery part of earth, spiritual essence of the physical vehicle. So, giving life to something that's physical. Often it's money, isn't it, normally? But with it being a relationship, is it fleshly? Because fleshly is earth as well, isn't it? And is it a sexual thing, isn't it? It could be as well, in the sense. But I sense it's more to do with being adamant about getting what you want from this. Hell bent on it. And nevertheless, the king is there, throned on his throne. He's quite, not content, but certainly he's wielding some form of authority, isn't he, as well? So it's gone from the seeking a mentor to you wielding either authority or a man in your life right now is or has been, I'd say is at the moment, wielding some authority maybe. It's a toss-up, isn't it, really, that it's a man in your life or it's you. I think really it's more to do with you. It's just that part of you. The king represents that part of you, that part of what's going on in your life that says you're hell-bent on getting what you want. We've tried religion, we've tried praying for it, we've sought guidance upon it. But you're sort of hell-bent on getting this. Determined, I suppose, is the right word, isn't it? I am determined to get myself a stable relationship. Why am I sort of feeling as though you're trying to prove something to yourself more than anybody else? Although it would look nice to your peers. It would appear good to your peers that look at me. To sort of say, look at me, I've actually achieved it, so I'm not the loser you think I am, maybe. And there could be that going on as well, couldn't there? There could be that sort of thing. That's usually, but it's, are you trying to prove to yourself or what? I do sense as though you've been within yourself, of course, with this, the Hierophant there, I mean, sort of representing the occult or metaphysical or even the psychic realm to some degree. That sort of connection. With seeking a man who for more for the personality than the sex, but nevertheless, deep down, you know, it's the sex that does matter, the physical side that does matter. But I do sense you are the sort of person who will go around saying, "Oh, I want somebody for the character." It's not the looks that bother me, it's the character that I'm interested in. It's the deeper side that I'm interested in. But the king represents, the king of coins represents a man who is very into the physical. Possessive of money and things like that, not maybe, yes, is concerned more about the physical. He would be more interested in what you look like in the morning, and he'd be more sort of upset about what you look like in the morning than what you'd said to him. And of course, that can, I suppose, prove an issue, can't it? Really. But he's there staring out at us. And he's hell bent on getting what he wants, or that part of you is hell bent on getting what you want. I still think it's like a part of you that is hell bent on getting that determination. that willpower. Understand thou thine own will. That sort of thing. Or I suppose taking charge of the situation, isn't it? And you, oh, he's done that. The king's done that, all right. He's taken charge. Don't you worry. That fiery part, that energy to the physical. He's taken charge of the physical, all right. He may even now, if you're in a relationship, if you were or are in one, he will be the one who's taken charge of what money comes and goes. If you want to buy this or want to buy that, he'll have the say on if it's worth it or not. But if he wants to buy something, he'll blow it. He'll blow it all on what he wants. But he'll make sure you don't get what you want. He's got control. That's his way of controlling you. And I want to pull the next card to see where this is going to lead. I don't really know where this is heading at all. Really, I want to pull the next card and really feel that it stares out at us. Let us reveal the... Oh, look at that. The energy of the Three of Coins. Crowley refers to the Three of Coins as the Lord of Works. The Lord of Works. It's to do with, really more to do with your imagination, isn't it? Two's company, three's a crowd, but it's earth again, isn't it? You're very earthly, or you will be. It's a spin-off from the King there, isn't it? That's what that's all about. A major arcana energy and two minor energies. Not much power to have changed it back then, but nevertheless... Why am I sort of thinking as though maybe, and I don't want to in any way sort of want to divert this, but a possibility is that your recent partner was very religious and rammed religion down your throat, and you got sick of it. If you get what I mean. Why am I sort of getting that from it? Or certainly ram this form of religion or whatever down your throat. And you got sick of that and thought there must be something better than this. That's just an impression that I'm getting. I could be totally wrong, so ignore it. Completely ignore it if it is wrong, because it was just a thought that came to my mind. And normally thoughts do come to your mind and they're not necessarily correct, are they? Really. But going back to this idea that one has nevertheless sought a mentor, or even been a mentor in some regards to somebody else, either being more of a mother to them, or the one who's needed mothering or needed fathering or something like that. Maybe it's a toss-up. But Jupiter obviously indicating that you were content where you were, and maybe that's why you didn't have power to change it, really, in that regard, because you were that sort of into, well, if you say your prayers often enough, it'll happen. say I wish, I wish, I wish enough times, and it'll probably happen. Or I suppose if you live long enough, something will kill you. It's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Really, in that regard, and that's. But the most important part of actually what has been happening in the relationship side of it is what has recently happened. That's been the most important side of it, really. Although we've got this male figure here who's adamant to control you right now, or it could be that could actually toss up. It could be a toss up as well of. It could be just that part of you is hell bent on getting what you want. But I sense there's a man there. I don't know why. But it could be that. But nevertheless, and regardless of your abilities shining between now and this time next month, maybe getting a job or maybe being a bit creative from a physical point of view, even creative from a sexual point of view, even. To try and lure him in, because that's what turns him on, if you get what I mean. It's gone from like spiritual to physical, instead of from physical and realizing that this isn't at all. There is a spiritual side to us. You've gone from knowing about the spiritual and being content in that, but nevertheless finding you haven't been able to change anything. You haven't had any power to change. You still have decisions you can make, and you can work out what to do and how to handle it. But you found that with the physical, you can change it. You have power to change it. You have power to manipulate it and do things with it. And that's what he knows, and that's what he can. He relies on. Forgetting, it's gone from, will you be in a stable relationship, to maybe he's the one who's asking the same question of you. Will she provide a stable relationship for me? And now you're in the firing line, in the sense of you're the one in being questioned by him in his own heart. Whereas you were quite content to take a person for who they are or who they were or whatever, within them. You were prepared to do that, prepared to learn from that. But now, because you've discovered you've got power to change things, you can change how he treats you. You can change, if he says he doesn't want to buy you this, doesn't want to buy you that, you'll find that by being imaginative, either from a sexual point of view or just by using your abilities to being creative in some way, you can lure him in, and you can basically make him do what you want him to do. You've got him just where you want him. For him, resistance is futile until, I suppose, when? The question could be, will we grow old together? But of course, when you grow old, you won't be of any use to him then. He's that sort of person, I'm afraid. That's just how it is. And maybe it could symbolise you as well, that once he's past it, you'll lose interest. You may find you'll lose interest in each other, but it's a toss-up. The king could either be you or but I'm sensing that is a man. That is somebody. That is a man in your life there who has got the purse strings very much attached to him, and he'd need surgery to remove his hand from his wallet. But to part with the money that's within it, from the outset, no, he wouldn't. But he would blow it all on himself, but he wouldn't blow it on you. because by doing that he's losing control if he blows it all on you. He keeps you in check by denying you certain things. But of course, the only way you can get him to not deny you and to sort of release some funds or whatever it is literally by offering what you can offer, I suppose. And that lends itself to other. But for how long? For the foreseeable future, it's hard work, yes. You will work at it, of course. The three of coins is the Lord of Works. The three of discs is the Lord of Works. That's what Crowley calls it, doesn't he? But where does it lead? Remember, the most important part of this has already happened. The spiritual side, the occult side, the internal, the self's internal side, the focus on the spiritual, the seeking mentorship or becoming a mentor for somebody, or just the guidance, the spiritual guidance has happened. But you had no control over it. You had no control over what guidance was given. You had to take it or leave it. But now, because you're in the physical realm, as you would say, of things going on, yes, you've got power to change it now. And maybe that's the thing that will corrupt you from a spiritual point of view. Isn't it? A stable relationship in what way? How many stable relationships have you already beaten in? That's the question, isn't it? More questions than answers. But nevertheless, seeking some form of physical pleasure is easier than the spiritual route. And that has a sell-by date, doesn't it? Spirituality, spirit is eternal, but flesh is mortal, isn't it? But you've chosen the mortal route to maybe for a quick fix. But you realise that the one who can fix it is, maybe that's probably why you want to know if you're going to be in a stable relationship anymore, or if there is one around the corner, because the man who's there now is very unstable within himself. Insecure, I think, is the word we're looking for, isn't it? More than anything, it's but using a bit of imagination may be the key to it. But of course, for the foreseeable future, all as well, isn't it? Until for now we cast a shadow for next time, and until next time, these cards have spoken.